Okay,
We're on. Okay, so
I got
uh,
issues. I got issues. I got issues.
yeah, sounds like them.
Um, I I ate shit on the nap format.
Mm-hmm.
Um, oops, I'll just no one needs to see the old bash profile there, do they? I don't even know where to start. Give me just a second to gather my thoughts in a coherent way. So I burned a ton of time getting the definition of what exactly a nap format is correct. I think it's good. And I've just been toying. I've made all the tooling for it. Like, how do you, for example, this tool uses an example nap and then gets out the functions that would be called by the LLM.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the part that I'm on right now is the registry. Like, how do you as a consumer actually find the naps that are available to you and download the correct schema without pulling in server side code to the browser and things like
Mm-hmm.
that. Just real sort of finicky, nitpicky, balanced kind of stuff. But like I said, I ate absolute dog shit on getting this one across the line, but I got there, and
Mm-hmm.
now I'm piecing together the registry. So I expect to have that in the next day or two, and then everything becomes a nap. It's right
Mm-hmm.
now not naps, but it's going to be in everything, all of this stuff. This is all the back end code. This all
Mm-hmm.
immediately becomes naps, and it gets run as naps, called as naps, and then it's used to call other naps. So that's where that's at.
Okay, that sounds progress. But you're saying that you're is all the shit behind you, or is it ahead of you? I guess
The
is the question.
majority of the shit is behind me, but
Okay.
if you've ever had an unpleasant shit experience, just because the worst part is over, there's still quite a bit of cleanup and
Yeah.
discomfort immediately thereafter.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's stop with that analogy.
Yeah, I think it's a good one. I mean, it's, even got ourselves a folder called Guts right here. Um, so, and can I give you some overviews on where the architecture or the design and the limitations and all that are at?
That would be perfect. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's
So for a long time, Dino Deploy has been my friend, but
mm-hmm.
that changed 2 days ago because I found a platform called Fly. And the issue with Dino Deploy is that it's it requires you to know all your code up front, and so making a place where an LLM can experiment with some code where
Mm-hmm.
it can do something like generate some code, run some tests, get the errors back, and then feed that back to the LLM. Those are hard to do on Dino Deploy. They're not. It's not built for that. It's the wrong tool for that. Um, and we don't need that from day one, you know. But Fly.io is amazing.
Okay.
Um, because they are. I'll skip straight to the part that I know that you'll like.
Mm-hmm. cold music. I don't know what I've been told.
This piece of shit ain't gonna fly. Here we go. Going to production with healthcare apps.
Okay.
Data integrity, blah blah, physical security, blah blah blah, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. No. Here, the BAA.
Yeah.
They will sign one with you for $100 a month.
Ah.
And
Right, okay.
additionally, right? Additionally, if you want to, actually, I'll. Why the fuck am I not signed in?
You
Now,
clever thing.
clearer, right?
Yeah.
Where was the compliance, you guys? Give it to me. Give it to me. Compliance. Here we go. Compliance. $99. SOC 2 Type 2 certification report, compliance assistance, and they will sign this with you. They will sign this with you. Additionally, a data processing agreement for GDPR in the EU. They sent me that. They sent me that. I click give it to me, and they sent me an auto-signed doc for a DPA that they will enter into with you. Just no extra anything.
This is that's you're right. I'm getting weirdly excited about this.
Yeah, I know. It gets better.
Supply chain compliance is just
such a pain,
everything.
Right? Such a pain.
Everything.
So let me explain to you how this works and why it's a fabulous model. I can never find anything I want when I want it when the screen ratio has changed. Regions. This is
so you keep the data inside of Europe, which is one of the main. Well, it's one top question I get asked.
Yeah,
it's like, where's the data?
Yeah, so you can keep it in there. OpenAI just became GDPR compliant. That's why you guys have now got access to Sora, because they opened a data center there, so they can hold the data in Europe without those issues.
Yeah.
They have 35 regions here. What's good about it? Oh, they also have GPUs, so you can actually run like an A100, I think. Yeah, you can run an 80 gig A100.
Okay. What if you wanted to like add to the model
or run your own version of DeepSeek or something like that?
Right.
They are a fantastic model, and I'm embarrassed that I didn't look into them more. They are using they've managed to collapse down a lot of the AWS services into a very simple component, which is a very rapid start Docker image. And so they've used some of the technology that AWS developed, namely a hypervisor called Firecracker. And Firecracker, yeah. So the model that they've got is they're like, well, we've got all these regions, and you can have your apps provisioned all around, and they do load balancing and all that. But the image starts so quick that it acts like a Lambda. But when it starts, it can keep taking load. So it's like, it's not just a Docker image that's like a single use thing and then it's off. It's like a Docker image that gets triggered, and then it's good for up to a certain amount of load, which you configure, and then it will fire up another one, and fire up another one, and fire up another one. So it will like scale these images up and down for you, and then and that's the whole model. That's the entire model.
Pretty sweet. That solves a lot of the problems.
Yeah,
Uh,
and the security is outstanding. Like it doesn't run on public cloud. It runs on their own, like they've rented space in data centers for their equipment. Um
right.
everything everything inside all of your running instances uses WireGuard between them all, so you get this private
Uh-huh.
network for all your apps. No matter how many are running all around the world, you're always in this very lightweight private network connected securely. Um,
Right. Right. But you can also can you dictate, for example, Europe only data centers? I assume.
yes, yeah, you can run it in a dedicated data center, just one, or a region, a collection of data centers. You can do as you wish.
That that immediately well, it's obvious to say, but it's worth saying. That's ISO 27001. That's all you need to do.
Right.
Know where your data is and know where your supply chain is, and make sure that everyone has got a certificate that they've signed off and they're on the
Mm,
hook for,
mm. And
and
they
you're
give
good.
you this. They give you that. So the other thing that I found that was really good was this thing called Tigris. And Tigris
TigrisData.com. Okay.
Tigris is um, AWS S3 compatible, but it's
Mm-hmm.
built entirely on top of Fly.io. Like it's an example of how with the standard Fly.io model, which is these um, very burstable, very quick to start VMs, someone's made an S3 data storage clone with a couple of
Yeah.
very special features. Um, you can tell me to skip over this if you want,
No.
but
Well, I'll read it
this
later, but
this feels
what?
these things I'm trying to. I think this is our future, and I don't think the switch is very high for us. I don't want to do the switch now because I want to get the trucking guys up and running first. But
Yeah.
once we can switch to this model, we will have a lot more capability, and that's sort of why I want to talk to you about the architecture of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so it's S. So right now, I've already got us running on S3 using S3 for the Git objects, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that gives us very reasonably cheap, low latency access to all the Git objects. They can be as big as we like, as small as we like. But the issue is they're all sitting in um, in Virginia,
Oh.
right? So yeah. Anyway, but
So close.
yeah,
So close.
so close but so far. But whatever. This model. It also, at the same time, we've got this Deno KV store, which is the database that we need. We have to have that database so that when two concurrent updates happen, when they try to modify the head pointer of the Git branch, there's not there's no confusion. It's a
Uh-huh.
strongly consistent model, right? And so now I got these. I'm running effectively these two databases. One's big, fat, and stupid, and the other's expensive, light, but highly consistent. This
Mm-hmm.
thing has a feature in it called conditional operations, where you can say if like if the value is still the same, then do the update. If the value has changed, do not do the update. Like,
Right.
and that's kind of all I need actually.
No, that's the yeah. Well, that's how banks. You either want the operation to completely succeed or completely fail.
Yeah. Um, and so that means I can get rid of Deno KV, which is pretty good. The second feature that they have is that they are very good at small objects. So even tiny little things, they are efficient at, which I think is important for our use case. But the final benefit is that these are the regions that they currently have. They say that they're going to ultimately spread out to all 35 regions that Fly.io runs on. But how it works is wherever the data was written, whatever region was closest to wherever the data was written, that's where the data starts and stays until someone else in a different region reads it, in which case it's moved over to there the first time, and then it stays there in a cache. And so everybody, no matter where you are, you get these very low latency writes, and except for the first read of a far away object, these very fast reads. Whereas our current design, everything was sitting in Virginia. And so no matter where you were on the planet, your latency was how fast you could get to Virginia. This is much better. And then if we couple that also, the other issue was that all of the worker processing, because the shortcut I took for the tracking guys was to skip or pause the work on the execution model. So now it's just pure data going on. But when we get the execution model back so that we can do big bulk parallel processes, like 10K worth of processes concurrently that just go up, down, whatever, very bursty loads. All of that work was also happening in Virginia due to the just the nature of how Deno deploy is configured, right? But with Fly.io, all the processing can happen wherever the person who asked for the job, whatever region they're closest to, that's where all the processing happens, and that's where all the Git objects get read and written. And so the whole experience is it's about as low latency as it can get. And it also can be transported to other regions around the world.
And presumably there's some kind of access control where, you don't want your data going to Brazil. Let's keep it in Amsterdam and Frankfurt.
I'm pretty sure that you can limit that, but I did not specifically check that. But I'm pretty sure that you can do that.
Yeah. It would, if these guys are going hard on security, then that would be, that's a no-brainer.
Right. Yeah, right. So, yeah, that's the thing. And with these two tools, Fly.io and this bucket thing, I think that we can have pretty much everything that we ever wanted, and this model actually can serve as a very simple form of what the blockchain processing network needs to look like. So because it's such a good computational abstraction, we can use this to test out the market demand for, do people even want the thing at the end of the road? And if they do, then we're like, yeah, now we know that we can invest in building out the decentralized version, because the computational model is so similar that this can be used to prove that like if we get market taste, or if the market likes what services are delivered using this model, we can almost directly translate that model to a decentralized version.
Okay. I mean, that'd be awesome. How certain are you on that, or is this work in progress?
100% certain, because it's such a simple abstraction. Region restriction. Restrict the regions where your bucket data is stored.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah. Yeah, so that compute model is so general, so simple, that, yeah, that's I think that's the thing we should switch to as soon as we can after the tracking guys.
Yeah. Well, it'd be every company I'm talking to always starts off saying, we don't trust sending our data off to somewhere we don't know it because
That's the problem then, right? Because
yeah,
the Europeans don't want to send your data to America at all now,
yeah.
right?
But
And so now we got,
beforehand, even before now,
yeah. Before
Europeans
they were
are
kind of okay with
very
it.
yeah, very regulation. Whereas you send it off to the US, and from that point onwards, they break their ISO
Yeah,
accreditation, and uh, a lot. The reason that's important to them is supply chain wise. If you're trying to get a contract from someone else, for example, the university given the data, they have to have that accreditation. That accreditation has to go all the way down, and you break the chain at any one point, it's just a non-starter.
hey, look at this. Have you heard about Open Router?
Mm,
So Open Router is basically a way to they let you call a bunch of AI services, but they'll automatically switch between them to give you uptime, um, as well as cheaper pricing and things like that. Right? Here's they publish the stats on who's using what. So that
mhm.
is the week ending March the 3rd. They have processed 1.18 teratokens, and these were all the
And
models that it went to.
so they're automatically switching based on what?
How you configure it, and you may
Mm-hmm.
choose to have backups. So, to show you the examples that they give, is shit. Hang on, better uptime. There we go. Uptime. Everybody's favorite question. So Claude's a bit hard for them to handle uptime for you, but
Mm-hmm.
something like Llama,
Mm-hmm.
they're like, 99.98, but
Mm-hmm.
the providers underneath are sort of up and down all over the place. And so they're basically able to, if you have multiple providers for the model you want, they will switch between the one that's up, but you can additionally configure failover. So, like, if you're like, I want OpenAI, but if I can't have it, then I'll have Claude. They'll also give you
Mm-hmm.
that as well. But it also
Mm-hmm.
lets you call it as one standard interface, and then all you do is just switch out the model names, and now you're on a different model.
That's very, very cool. And you can
Yeah.
do that per prompt. So if I go from talking about Lamb, Rog, and Josh to a math problem,
Oh
it'll
yeah.
switch from.
Yep. So this is where it gets cool. Um, you can choose the model auto, and that
Mm-hmm.
uses this thing called Not Diamond.
Mm-hmm.
Not Diamond is looks at the prompt and picks the model,
Huh. Fantastic.
right? So
That
you're
is,
like,
and that's just a single line. Uh,
it's
saying,
tragic.
okay,
It's tragic. Like how long have how many people labored, and then now you got this API, and it's like, we'll do that for you.
yeah,
Like, okay, thanks. I think. Um. So yeah, that's with OpenRouter plus the Tigris object storage plus Flighter.io. Every tool that we've spoken about can be launched on a homogeneous infrastructure. Like, there's
yeah,
no longer any need for anything fancy or special or different to accommodate special types of usage, such as real time voice, for example, massive file upload, um,
mhm,
highly concurrent workers. You know, like even one of the things that had me scratching my head for ages was I was like, okay, if we do a burst compute where we burst to 10K and then come back down, but I still want streaming. Like as the user, I want to be able to pick a process and look into it and see the streaming real time result come back. That was not possible in Deno Deploy, but in Fly.io, I wouldn't say it's trivial, but it's definitely achievable, provided it's been thought out well at the start. It's achievable, and works very well, and the pricing is exceptional, in my opinion. So, I think this is the infrastructure that we can run our completed version on, and because it does everything we need, I think I can say that we don't need to change it. Like it's good enough. It's good enough to launch with or run with because it doesn't do. There's nothing we can't do on it. The performance is exceptional. It's as good as it's going to get. The performance, the cost is like cheaper than we could do it. That's for sure. It's elastic. You know, like as people use it more, we charge more. That's fine. Who cares about that?
That's a good kind of cost though, because they're only using it more because they've got more
Yeah,
business to use it. Yeah.
yeah, that's right. That's right. And then we couple that with this open router system, and we're kind of sitting in a real good spot, I think.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, these guys let you pay in crypto too, which is hilarious. Right? Which is funny. It's like why are you buying AI tokens using crypto? Like, what are you doing? But yeah. Anyway,
Quite interesting. Probably because it was easy to do.
I'd say so. Eh?
Yeah. I thought, why not?
Why not?
Someone might use it.
Yeah. So that's
a
it.
lot of moving variables there, isn't there? Anyway, that's awesome. What I'm really gagging for is because I'm being asked a lot. It's like, yeah, we want to do this. We'll go for it. When the actual platform,
when blockchain.
Yeah. I know it's a horrible
Well, fuck.
question.
I don't know. But if I'm pretty sure that this week I will be able to put the private customer data into our cloud hosting. So at that point, it's like that's live data. That's live data sitting on chain in a secure environment that the customers can use.
So, it follows then that if you're saying within a week, we're in that position, then within a week we need a test set of data to make sure it actually does what it says on the tin.
What does it say on the tin?
It says that the data is only ever going to be in Frankfurt. It's GDPR compliant. Every piece of this is supply chain GDPR compliant.
Yeah, we won't have that until I move to Fly.io. We're still gonna run this week on Deno Deploy because that's where I've built everything.
All right. Okay. All right. Sorry, I misunderstood. Yeah. Okay. So.
Well, actually, maybe I could because this.
That unlocks a lot for us. That unlocks a lot.
Just
everyone's paranoid about their data.
Right. Well, what regions are okay? Is it any region in Europe?
Anything in Europe, yeah.
Is the UK still part of Europe?
Yes. It only Brexited from the EU. but it's
What?
still part of Europe in terms of
Isn't
inherited all the
GDPR
laws.
isn't
No,
GD is GDPR still applies in UK?
yeah, 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 yeah. They haven't gone back and
Ah,
rewritten GDPR. It's still there on the statute
ah,
books.
ah. Okay. So this was a test app that I deployed on Fly, um, and you can see how quick that loaded. Uh,
Hmm.
it deployed. I basically clicked two buttons, and it took my Deno deployment and then deployed it automatically onto Fly. So that's maybe if what you're saying is that it's actually more important, people are very, very worried about that data sovereignty, then maybe I'll just migrate to Fly anyway, because they have better secure, like their security is their security model's simpler. It's stronger, it's simpler. Their abstraction model is smaller. You know, like I do
Yeah,
not like it is a fatal problem if we even no one cares that we're running software that we're quite frankly glad that it just works. No one cares about that if you lose the customer records. Like that's a project ending mistake.
but
And
also
so
weird. Sorry, go on.
that's why putting it on Fly right from the start might actually be worth the. It's probably only a half fucking day, really, um, to move it over.
It would unlock a lot of the conversations that
Right.
even those not dealing with sensitive data don't want the idea that is
Okay.
probably erroneous of their data going into
Right.
the ether and someone else gets it somehow.
Okay. So how are we going to deal with that when it comes to the inference models, right? Because OpenAI, I'm pretty sure they have a GDPR compliant data center, but I'm not sure how to guarantee that from the API.
The immediate way of doing it would be to, which you can buy GPU time, so use DeepSeek or a QWQ, or there's going to be many models coming out there that are good enough.
Isn't
Um,
Claude is yeah, that's right. Hang on, I did have an answer for you there. Um, let me just find the latest Claude. Claude 3.7 thinking. Here we go. So here you can pick from Anthropic, Amazon Bedrock, Google Vertex Europe, right? That's the one you
there you
want,
go.
right?
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. So
And
this, because of Open Router, it lets us we can pick a region
right,
for some
right.
models. If the option is available, some models can give us that.
Yeah, and the quid pro quo is maybe the kind of the burning edge models. No, they're not available, but that's less important for these guys
Oh,
because
it's less important. So Frontier is
yeah,
not as important for them as privacy.
privacy is a non-starter unless they know that they own the data, could switch off the data, and then if they get audited, they can say, "Here's our
Right.
audit
So
docs."
is that sufficient then if we're processing using Claude 3.7 in Europe, where all the
It
data stayed in Europe and all the
should be
processing was in Europe?
the only thing I could think of that would break that or be a bit of a snag is uh, the not all models are going to give good results. So the router kind of defining, oh, you're asking for a math model. Here we go for it.
Oh, the auto router.
Yeah,
So yeah.
I
That
can look
is
into
a
this,
massive
but this
pain
is no. This is oh, sorry. Why is it massive pain?
because the auto router I'm not sure if the auto router. I don't know if the auto router can be set to be region specific.
Let me handle that one because well, I'll give the guys a call and find out where they're based.
Who?
The
Where's
auto
who
router
based?
guys. The auto router guys.
Auto router.
It's all right. I can look into it. I think
Yeah.
The given that
San
the
Fran. Based in San Fran.
well, bugger.
Don't hold that against them.
It just makes life harder. But it sounds like something I can usefully do, which is the overwhelming blockers. There are two. The first one is quality of output. The second is where's my data going? Now,
Look, I can't guarantee it to you, but I'm pretty sure that we can, with a bit of tweaking, configure Not Diamond to choose between appropriate models, but we might not be able to run them in a GDPR compliant way. So you might miss out on that.
could we not put a shim on top of it? As in multiple routers that. So I don't know. I'll have a look. But if it's doing what I think it's doing, you don't need to send off the sensitive payload on a prompt.
How would you know what the sensitive payload is or not?
Because you can state it. It's like if there's anything that's personally identifiable information, then a prompt that has to do with that has to go through this route. If it's nothing to do with that, if you're just looking for anonymized data or publicly available data, then go through that route.
Okay. Well, that sounds like that'll just be an ongoing problem.
Give me a week. I'll look at this in detail because if we can crack that part of the two pillars, it's like quality of output and where the fuck's my data going. If we can crack the where the fuck my data's going, then the quality of the output will be okay. So if you really want to keep everything in Europe, GDPR and its health data.
Yeah, if you're gonna keep it, but the thing is, you don't need
get access to all the models.
But you don't need Frontier access for those kinds of things because, what are you? You're kind of more you're doing grunt work, right? You're not trying to theorize about how the fuck, different proteins are gonna fold or anything like that. Like, if you're doing that work, you need to be using a different provider.
It's exactly, and for example, most of the guys we talk to say the health cancer guys, very very interested in where their data goes, but what they're asking is basically inference on a large document set and selection.
Hey, yeah, look, API residency for Europe.
No difference in Europe.
Cool.
ChatGPT. There you go. All right.
So it's there.
Okay.
But yeah, that auto router, I mean, we'll figure out a way around it. But I guess what I'm trying to get at is that these are the tools that we have today, and we can deliver a solution that will have the best models we know of, which is a mix of OpenAI plus Claude, with full sovereignty. and then as new niceties come along, like like the auto router, we can add them in as
Yeah,
permits.
but even with the auto router, we can uh, we can look at each model uh, as to their own security compliance
Yeah.
and choose a subset of that
Right,
and
right,
say,
right, right. And so I guess on the Dreamcatcher, it should be a very simple option where you're like, "Hey, I want them. Where's all my data?" And it knows. And then you're like, "I only want it in Europe," and it's like done. And then
right,
that's how the platform
right,
works, right? And we're like,
yeah,
here's the trade off. You're like, if you want to use America, you can use America, but here's what you get and don't get.
well, exactly, because a user in America doesn't care
Uh,
if it's in America. User in Europe does care because
yeah,
uh,
that's right. That's right.
Europe is regulated,
Yeah, and
whereas
so I mean, there are a lot of techniques we can do even in the long term. This will always be a problem, and one of the things that we can do, like the data sovereignty of a frontier model, is always going to be a problem. And so one of the
Mhm.
things we can do is we can use a non-frontier model in Europe to declassify the data, to anonymize the data, and then send that off to the frontier, which could be China or USA, and then come back and translate it back out.
yeah, sure,
Yeah.
that's a good point. That's a good point.
Okay.
That's quite a sophisticated level that most of the tasks probably don't need,
Well, yeah, but the
but
thing is,
if
the
they do
people that
need it,
need it, they really need it. They really,
yeah,
really need it. Yeah.
yeah,
So now, one of the key aspects that this Fly.io model gives us is something that I've been hunting for, chasing down with blockchain for years now, which is the
mhm,
ability to take a computation, move the computation somewhere, do the computation, move it back. And so, for example, in this European America thing, you could, instead of having to sit there with a traditional app where you're like, okay, I'm in Europe, I'm processing the sensitive data, now I'm taking this long leg out to Virginia and back again and back again and back again. You can do the anonymization, move the whole thing over to America, do lots of low
mhm,
latency processing there, and then move the computation back. And that's kind of the essence of what blockchain computation is about, being able to have portable computation. You just move the compute to where the internet resources it needs to access are, so that you have the fastest possible, lowest possible latency. That's
yeah, and also, I mean, almost truly, you with uh, with with PID, if you just had a key actual name pair um, in Frankfurt, um, you could use the key wherever you want because it's like
right, right.
you know.
Oh, right,
But you know,
right,
use trust.
right. Okay, well, this actually sounds like a good angle for us. Like, if we could make our
Hmm.
data, our platform, as okay, we're in an agentic platform that has access to frontier models, but crucially, we know where all the data is, and we'll tell you, and you can pick it. Very high data sovereignty awareness, but you can additionally, by default, dekey your data. So
Hmm.
you have like your home region, which will be like wherever you choose it to be, and that's where the deciphering map goes of like this key means that, this key means that, blah blah. And then all the data throughout the platform is always anonymized anyway. And so at that point, it's less of a concern whether you compute it in America or in Switzerland. And that should be
And
one of
oh,
our key features, I think.
I mean that's pretty powerful, and I've not seen any other service do that. But also, data
It's super
provenance
murky,
falls out. Yeah, because of the blockchain, data provenance falls out of it.
right?
Um,
Ah, right. Ah, so hey, you can do when the signature goes on the block, we can sign it with a like a region aware signature. So it's like
mhm.
I signed this block in Europe, and then we can have other regions that will sort of reject the blocks or require special explicit authority if they start to touch data that's been signed and processed in these other things. So you can get this provenance that shows not just, hey, here's the data, because how would you know where it got processed or not? But the signatures on the blocks tell you what region it was processed in. So you can be like,
Right.
all this data processing happened in Europe because these are the signatures of the regions that it used.
Yeah.
Or this, like, so if we
Yeah.
actually, if that's quite good actually, how sure are you that you are not over indexing or over inflating the importance of the data sovereignty and the preservation of the sovereignty within Europe?
I am 100% of the companies that we've been talking to. That is at the business level the very first thing they ask, and
Really?
then
Okay.
yeah,
Well, then
very
that's
first
what
thing.
we should do, because that's the very last thing that a company tells you about. Like, you have to really hunt for that when you're
Yeah,
trying to use the service, right?
yeah, yeah. And then when you get to the operational level, that's when they talk about the quality of the output. But the CIO is sitting there going, "I'm not even gonna sign off on this because who the fuck knows?" It's confusing enough without having to think that literally, the company could be fined, and there's also criminal prosecutions available if you really fuck up.
Right. Okay, well, so that, because if we are launching with the notion of data sovereignty and data provenance, fine grained geographic processing provenance with data sovereignty the whole way through, and it's agentic, and we have these lovely little translator bits that can sort of anonymize your private data and then ship the processing off to a frontier model in the States and bring it back. If that's like our key offering, and we're like, yeah, and we want to build a blockchain that does that, and that's why it's important, like, that's a pretty good,
I mean, that's awesome.
that's a
Remember,
good
there's
sell,
there's
right?
there's two pillars. On the business side, they don't want to end up in jail, and on the op side, they want good results. Actually, put in a prompt, and it's like good results. But the router should be able to, I love this, take the prompt and put it into the best model of a subset of the models that agree with the
With the
security
sovereignty,
standards.
yeah, the
Yeah,
sovereignty rules. So we should really focus our offering on that sovereignty, because that's the first feature that highlights the blockchain nature. Like,
yeah,
you can't easily do the sovereignty things without the blockchain. The other thing you can't easily do without the blockchain is this parallel worlds thing where the LLM's looking at a problem and then it forks and then experiments and then does that in parallel across like 20 different avenues
right.
or ideas that it had, and then comes back and it didn't mess with your
Which comes
production
to the
data.
quality, yeah, which is the second pillar, yeah. Because the reason for doing that is you get better results.
Mm. Okay, that's pretty fun, man.
I mean, could sell that tomorrow, honestly.
That is pretty
um,
fun. And the America thing helps us a lot there, because it's like, well, now
well,
everyone definitely doesn't want
well, the thing is, Europe doesn't like the data going outside.
anyway, like,
America
on a
doesn't
good
like their
day.
data going to China.
Right.
It's
At
like,
China, I mean, well, they got their firewall and all, but
yeah, well, China doesn't want their data going outside of China.
hmm.
Everyone wants to, there's like areas of influence where they want to keep the data inside um, because of differences in law.
Mm.
Everyone's got their own different types of law, and I was an app user or a builder. It's like, don't know, but if I tick this button, you guys are saying you've got a GDPR signature on it
Yep.
or an SEC signature or whatever equivalent is in China. And it's like, I don't have to care about it. What I would suggest is then I put my CISO hat on and look through what we've just talked about here, and see if actually if what's being offered actually is what we think is being offered, and we can clag it together in the way we've just talked about. If on the face of it, if everything is correct that we've just said, then that is absolutely awesome and necessary to even get any kind of deal over the line. And the second part is, does that constrain the use of the models too much that the quality is too low? But then we've got various methods for doing that.
We have ways.
Yeah, we have that.
Okay, that sounds like a great anchor cell, right?
It does, doesn't it? It's simple. That you can put that in a slide. It's like there's two things here, and all we've got to do is make sure that we're not talking bullshit.
We're not, because we know, like we know, and we got signatures from these guys that they're not bullshitting us.
Well, that's a good thing. If there's a legal agreement, then auditing is just a tick sheet. It's like all the way down.
Yeah.
Which opens up a whole bunch of stuff, even
right, because we'd win in a bid. We'd win in a bid when it's like data sovereignty. What the hell?
Yeah. Now, some guys don't care about data sovereignty. A scrappy startup, move fast, break things, that sort of thing. It's like
move fast and leak data. Yeah.
Move fast and get sued later. They don't care, but the guys with money really do care, because the decision makers may lose a job if it doesn't work in the way described, and therefore they're just not signing off on it. CISO, CTO, CFO, CEO are all going to be looking at, is this going to actually give good results, and are we getting ourselves into the shit by using it? And everyone thinks right now using AI get you into the shit, because who knows? It's like there's AI out there somewhere. Nobody even knows where. Open 01. Where is Open 01? It's like,
where's he gone?
Somewhere.
Okay. So where does that leave us?
What may I propose my work for the next week is to look at this from the that chain. I'll go into each of these and see where the gaps are, but I would urge moving on to Fly, which enables all these other things.
Yeah, you're right. I might just do that, because I would feel better about. They make me feel safe the way they talk. I'm like, these guys are security nerds. They run on hardware. Deploy runs on Google Cloud plus I don't know what, and then and I'm like, that's great, but this is better because it's like it's metal.
Yeah. It's, what's that old term I used to give when I was in sales and data centers? It's like, the reason for buying this product is because if you wanted to, you could actually come up and hit your server with a hammer. And it's sort of
the same thing. Like, it's the closest thing to a hammer in this new fandangled world. Yeah. But at least I know where my stuff is running.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'll do that, and I'll move to this Tigers thing as well for S3. Right, that should be pretty trivial because it's S3 compatible. The only hold
Yeah.
up is that consistency thing, but I think I got that under control.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. Well, what I would need to progress is okay. So say over the next week, and these weeklies, I think is a good cadence right now because I think number one, we're done chewing over the theory of Dreamcatcher and that sort of thing. I
it's
think we
done. That thing is
we
so
we
done. Like, but
yeah.
but you need to. I need to see it written. I need that. Like it.
Okay.
Like it is
We
done, but it needs to be written.
yeah. Okay. So what we'll do there is written, but maybe not summarized in the way that you're needing.
Or
We went
anyone's.
through the
Yeah.
yeah. We went through the README and then kind of combined it down into those three blobs of
Well, yeah,
control.
like I need agent names and responsibilities because because I
That'd be dead easy to do. All
yeah,
right.
that's
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like
Okay.
what is
All
it
right.
doing? Why is it doing that? Because I really think that it's within grasp to say that here is the Dreamcatcher. It is an agentic platform with data sovereignty at heart.
Yeah.
It has within it this very special agent built into its fabric called the Dreamcatcher agent, and this agent will tell you how much you're worth relative to your friends.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the one fucking thing. If we can just have that, even if it's crappy, that's the what do they call that? That's the ranging shot, the tracer bullet.
Yeah.
That's the crack
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
sky. You're like, we fired that shot. This is you can see now if you followed all those components out to their conclusion, you could see that it would displace a significant amount of other infrastructure and business processes.
Yeah. And in terms of demand, sitting on this side, trucking guys aside, on an order book of about 13,000 GDP, without really trying.
Yeah, but is that
Um,
deliverable? How deliverable is that work?
well, that's all consultation. That's even
Consult.
prior to
Okay, so is
the
it feasible then, like, um, without trying, you mean you didn't try hard to build the book, or you didn't try
that's
hard to fulfill the orders? You don't think we would have to try
uh,
hard to fulfill the orders?
meaning we could easily do 10x in terms of building the funnel
Okay,
without
so
breaking
then
sweat.
is it worthwhile then we get this platform up and then I come over to Europe and we like crank out a few of these things to like get the feel for it?
Yeah, or maybe go over to Kenya, for example, which seems more ripe
I love Kenya, but it
for it.
doesn't sound like forgive me if I'm out of date, but it feels like there's not that much money over there.
Oh
Is
God,
that
no,
true?
there is. No,
There's
no, no.
money
There is money.
in Kenya.
Is very polarized.
What?
On the news, it looks relatively underdeveloped, but um, it's a bit like Nigeria, which is another one I don't have an in for yet, but um,
You want to go
there's
to
a lot of
Kenya?
people with a lot of money,
So
and then there's
you
even
want to
more
go to
money.
Kenya?
Sorry,
You want to go to Kenya with a data sovereignty platform and sell them agentic AI systems. Is that what I just heard?
yeah, I want a slide deck where they go, yeah, all right, that's brilliant because uh, Africa is about to do that leapfrog they did with telephones, where everyone went straight to smartphones, and all their commerce is now digital. Um, and that's well, a bit like Wise. And then Ukraine,
What
albeit
the fuck? Nairobi's sold out of Starlink. What?
Yeah. You see, this is
Who the
a
fuck
blind
else
spot.
sold out of
This is a blind.
Starlink?
This is a blind spot because
Jakarta, Brisbane. These are holy smoke. These are wealthy areas.
wealthy guys who are digitally inclined.
Oh, look at that.
And
Seattle, Portland,
yeah,
Spokane, Washington. I love that place.
Spokane. Hey,
Do love that
I've heard
place.
that word for a while.
Sacramento. Okay, so Kenya sold out of Starlink.
Yeah.
What the fluff?
It's Africa's not the basket case that people remember from 30 years ago.
Sorry for my ignorance. I don't get out much on the internet.
Yeah. The other
Okay.
one is Ukraine. I think is worth a visit as well.
Mate, I don't. Nah, the border crossing takes too long. So, okay, so answer me this then: if we were just testing, doing ranging shots, would we make more money from our ranging shots and learn more in the UK or in Kenya?
I think we would get more buyers in Kenya than in the UK, weirdly, because those guys' GDP growth is like 4 times what it is in the
Really?
UK. Yeah.
Mate,
and,
how the world has changed. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So,
But, I can give you a bit more of a. I'll get a stack rank of where I think demand would be, and then supply. Definitely Ukraine because those guys are smart and awesome dudes.
they're smart and they need it.
Yeah. So yeah, there might be a bit of a world tour to be done, but let me get that stack rank. But
In
before
Kenya.
that, let me it's not just Kenya. Well, there's Mombasa. That's where I'm heading off to on June the 10th. Love to get into Nigeria. So
Maybe I should come and meet you in Mombasa.
yeah. If this it's still not been confirmed because
Yeah.
yeah. Well, the
Yeah,
offer
like I mean,
is-
like I wouldn't. Yeah,
yeah.
like we'll see how we go, but like it just feels
But-
like.
It feels like there's a world tour coming on, right?
Yeah, I know. And I've never set foot in Africa, and I'm seeing spots where there's no Starlink available.
There you go. Nigeria, look, 100 million people, with GDP rise. I think was 7.3% last year. For example, in the UK, GDP rise over the last year has been 0.1%.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So what?
But for
so
the next
what?
week,
So
right, to break it down to small chunks. For the next week, what I'll do is I'll get the pillar of how do we confidently stand up and say this has data sovereignty based on the laws of your land of use and data provenance. So if you're audited, no problems. I'll get the because it's easy to do. I'll get the description of those three.
yeah,
they're not
that's
agents, but
much
they're-
more. That's much more important to me than the data sovereignty thing. The data sovereignty thing is relatively easy. We
Yeah.
must come to alignment on what are these agents. You just said something that makes me feel shaky. Why are they not agents?
Because it could be that we use auto-routers for each of the functions. of
But
those
it's still
chunks.
acting as an agent. It's acting as an entity that
Yeah,
can.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine. Multimodal. Sorry, multimodal, not multimodal.
multimodal agents.
Yeah,
But
agents,
basically our platform is an agentic platform. That's kind of the essence of it. And what an agent is becoming broader. Like an agent can be a thing that can call on 10,000 concurrent calls to do a bunch of repetitive work. An agent
Yeah.
can suddenly be replicated, like it can become 1,000 versions of itself to do some stuff and then collapse back down. Like that's still an agent.
Yeah. 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 Exactly. As opposed to previously an agent way back, a year and a half ago, an agent was effectively one model, one thread.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then we were playing with switching, and then
Yeah.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah. We're way above that.
so our pieces really become secure processing, data sovereignty processing, extreme switchability,
Yeah.
automated agentic attribution based on contribution, and one other thing that we do. Oh yeah, the network of people,
Yes.
the labor
Yes.
network or the inventive network.
Yeah. And also the self-healing properties of that virtuous cycle, where uh, the um, the weightings and the use of new models and so on are
Yeah, so
assessed by
all that
AIs
stuff, that
themselves.
you're talking about there, that's
Mm.
what I need to see written briefly because we
Okay.
need to agree on that.
Yeah. Right.
Okay,
So
and we
that'll
need to
be
thrash that out because there's a ton of holes in there, buddy. I tell you.
yeah. So that's the top of the stack. And second of the stack is I don't want to over-index on it, but if we can get um, that the pillar of GDPRness um, tested, and we've got Marla who can go and test it in front of people and see if we are right.
You mean if we're right
And
that people really want it?
right, yeah,
Yeah.
because I'm running on quite a few assumptions here on
Okay.
quite a small data set.
Okay.
But we can easily get that tested, and then we can just assume that we'll get the best results because of the whole agentic use and auto routing and prompting is down to We'll
Okay.
assume that we'll get the best possible on the second pillar. So first one, I'll get that the descriptions of the agents and the responsibilities.
Awesome.
Second one, I'll look through all these new services that you just brought to the table, which I love. Third one, I'll get some kind of pitch deck out to Marla, and she can go and talk to real people with real money who may want to use this, and then we'll get feedback about whether we're right. But as far as I can see, I think we are right.
Yeah. We're also unable to not be that as well. Like that, whether we're right or wrong about the market's appetite for it, that's just how we're built anyway. Like it's not like it's not gonna make us build it like less privacy concentrated. Like it's like
Well,
we can't. It's not designed that way.
yeah, but it kind of feedback would give us an idea of where to spend time. It's like
True. Or what
people
to lead with. What to lead with when we
yeah,
open our mouths.
yeah, exactly. But that's
Okay.
it's a real simple explanation which we've been looking for a while.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
All right. Well,
All
that's
right,
good.
that's brilliant. Yeah, as I say, I've been
All right. So yeah. So
kind of
the NAP format is strong. It works very well. It does everything that I think we wanted it to do. And now I'm just like wiping the shit off my hands to clean up the mess I made to figure out how to get it to all work. And then I'm going to switch over to Fly.io plus Tigris, and then we're kind of that's the terminal version. That's the launch version. I really don't think it needs to be like that's sufficient to host the whole world. because I think it's very important to like have this, the theory of how our stuff works, but also make it so that it's effectively infinitely scalable. And that's what this gives us, right? Like we could take the load of the world using this infrastructure
Yeah.
with a
Yeah.
few
Yeah.
caveats, whatever. But like we
Yeah.
can handle serious burst. Like if we get slash dotted or put in something, whatever the cool kids read these days, and then they're all like, sign up here, and it's like, and like we're not going to fall over because
I
we
know.
built this thing properly.
And the overnight stats, you go, what just happened?
Yeah, right. Like the alarm bells start ringing, the credit cards get emptied, and you're like, "What the fluff is going on? Oh, it's happening! The rain has come to Africa." Um,
I used to love overnight stats because it's
mm,
like you'd finish your day, get up, have your first coffee, and look at the stats saying, oh, made 40 grand last night, and I was asleep.
mm,
Well, I didn't personally, but the company did.
yeah, well, let's
Um,
get to that point. Okay, so
yeah.
this feels like terminal time. Anything else to add to the recording? I have some extra things to go over.
I no, I'm very happy with our plan, and Tuesday next week, I think, will be good.
All right, I'll stop
Give
the
enough time
recording.
to